San Francisco, for most of us, it brings back memories of cable cars, golden sunsets, and unforgettable vacations. But for Alison Galvani, it's something entirely different. It's the place where her mother, Nancy Galvani, was taken from her forever. In the summer of 1982, Nancy Galvani was going through a divorce. She was separated from her husband and trying to start fresh. But just 1 month after that separation, Nancy's body was found floating in San Francisco Bay. Alison was only 5 years old, too young to fully understand, but old enough to remember what she saw and what she heard. There were eyewitness reports, there was evidence, there was Alison's voice trying to tell anyone who would listen. But more than 40 years later, no one has been prosecuted. What really happened to Nancy Galvani? Who did this? Why was her story buried? And will Alison ever see justice for her mom? If you believe Nancy's story deserves to be heard, share this video. Let's bring attention back to a case that's been ignored for far too long. Justice for Nancy. Patrick and Nancy Galvani married in 1973. They lived in the Pacific Heights neighborhood of San Francisco, and they had one daughter, Alison. By 1982, Nancy was filing for divorce. Nancy kept a diary. She detailed the abuse. She told friends she was scared. Her daughter, Alison, she saw it too. Patrick once told Nancy, quote, "I'll kill you before you get custody of Alison." And just months later, Nancy was found in the San Francisco Bay near the San Mateo Bridge. On August 8th, 1982, Nancy left to pick up her daughter Alison from Patrick's house. She never came back. Patrick made other plans for Alison. Instead of giving Alison to Nancy, he sent her to his uncle's house. Nancy's body was found the next day in San Francisco Bay, strangled, wrapped in a sleeping bag, a cinder block tied to her waist. Patrick never reported her missing, not Sunday, not Monday, not even Tuesday. It wasn't until Friday, after pressure from Nancy's friends, that he finally filed a report. Nancy deserved to live. Alison deserved a mother. And Patrick Galvani, he was charged 2 days after he reported Nancy missing. But months later, all the charges were dropped. Remember when Alison's dad, Patrick, sent Alison to his uncle's home? His uncle's name is Pat. And guess what? Alison did not call her dad, Dad. She called him Patrick. That's what her dad preferred. So when the police interviewed 5-year-old Alison, they asked her where was she the night her mom disappeared. She said with Pat. Was she her father's alibi? 42 years later, justice for Nancy. Imagine being 5 years old and having your mother taken from you. Imagine being almost 50 years old and still not seeing the person who took her from you prosecuted. Imagine thinking the person who took your mother from you was your own father. In June of 1982, 5-year-old Alison Galvani had just graduated kindergarten. And to celebrate, Alison's mom took her to the musical Annie in the San Francisco theater. After the show, the celebration of her graduation continued. Mom and Alison headed to Golden Gate Park for a picnic. They laid out a green sleeping bag to sit on for the picnic, and Alison played with her Annie doll. The sleeping bag is one that Alison would never forget. Nancy had just filed for divorce and left her husband Patrick. He stayed in their upscale Pacific Heights home. Nancy wanted to escape the abuse, and she moved to a residential-style hotel in San Francisco. Nancy and Patrick split custody of Alison 50-50. Nancy's diary detailed the abuse. And here's Alison as an adult, remembering what she heard.
So yeah, I heard my parents fighting, and I remember thinking like, this is worse than normal. And I ran into my parents' bedroom. My mother was lying on the bed. My father was like straddling her. His knees were like pinning down her arms. And there's this large square Laura Ashley pillow, and he was pressing it over her face. And I was then begging him to stop doing that.
About 2 months after that kindergarten graduation celebration, Nancy had left her residential-style hotel and told her friends she was going to pick up Alison on a Sunday evening instead of Monday morning. But Patrick had sent Alison away to his uncle's home. Patrick denies ever seeing Nancy. And the next day, Nancy's body was found in San Francisco Bay. Her body was inside a sleeping bag. There was a rope tied around her waist with a cinder block attached to it. The autopsy showed Nancy died from strangulation. The place where her body was recovered was San Mateo County, in an area known as Foster City. The same sleeping bag from the sweet kindergarten graduation picnic now held Nancy's lifeless body. When the detectives interviewed 5-year-old Alison, they showed her a picture of the sleeping bag, and she identified it. It was the same one they sat on in the picnic, and she remembered that sleeping bag being in the trunk of her mom's car. Witnesses even reported Nancy's car being in the vicinity in another home that Patrick owned but was rented out. Alison remembers waiting, hoping. Every time a car drove by, she ran to the window, thinking it might be her mom, but it never was. Will you help seek justice for Nancy? Please email Stephen Wagstaff, the DA, as well as the Chief Deputy, Shin Mi Chang. This case is getting attention. We need to continue to push and fight for justice for Nancy. Help Alison through this. Anyone can write the DA or the Chief Deputy. You do not need to be a resident of California. Justice for Nancy.